Hello guys, Mr. Wisp254 here, and thank you for taking your time to visit this channel. So in this tutorial today I want us to talk about how we can do load balancing and failover for our MikroTik routers. And this is so important, especially if you have two links that are serving you, two ISPs, and let's say one is giving you 100 Mbps, the other one is also giving you another 100 Mbps, and you want a total combined speed of say 200 Mbps at the end. So with this configuration, that's what you're going to achieve. And you're also going to be able to have the benefit of the failover, because once one ISP goes down, your network is still running because the other one is still up, and it's running just as fine. So let's get started. So as you can see, this MikroTik router has been reset. It has no configuration at all. So we are going to start setting it up from scratch. So the first thing that I want us to do is come to IP and go to DHCP client, so that we can be able to be assigned an IP from the two providers that we have. So DHCP client add, this one goes to Ether1, and add default route, this should always be set to no for this instance, for this case. Okay, then we do the same for Ether2, where our second ISP is plugged to. Add default route, this should also be set to no. Okay, so as you can see, we've been assigned two different IPs. The next thing that I want us to do is let's first of all rename our interfaces. So this is going to be ISP1. Okay, and this is going to be our second one, the second ISP, ISP2. Okay, the next thing that I want us to do is I want us to create a bridge where we are going to put all the remaining ports on. So we need to come to bridge, we add one bridge. Okay, then we come to the ports, and now let's add our ports to that bridge. So we are going to add Ether3, we are going to add Ether4, and we are also going to add Ether5. That's typical with MikroTik. Right now I'm connected to the MikroTik on Ether5, and once I added it to the bridge, it logs you out, but you just reconnect back in immediately. No, let me get that back because we are going to need the details here. So the next thing that I want us to do is I want us to assign an IP address to that bridge. So let's give it 172.10.10.1/24, and the interface, this goes to the bridge. Okay, so we already have our IPs set. So the next thing that we now need to do is we now need to go to Firewall and set up a few mangle rules that are going to assist us achieve the load balancing with failover. So you come to IP, Firewall, then mangle. So we now want to start adding them one by one. There are quite a few. So the first one, you come to general tab, and the chain is going to be pre-routing, and after that the destination address, we are going to pull this from our first ISP. So it's going to be 192. It's going to be the whole block of that IP range actually. .168.0.0.0/24, and then the in interface, this is going to go to our bridge, and then on the action tab, the action is going to remain as accept. So we are going to apply this, and what you'll realize is that every single rule that we place on our MikroTik, we are going to do it twice, because we have two ISPs that are serving us through Ethernet 1 and Ethernet 2. So we've applied that. So let's copy this so that we do the same. But now for this case, we are just going to change this block of IP so that it reflects this ISP2. So this is going to be 10.10.10.0/24. We are going to apply that, and then okay for this as well. So that is our first rule. It's done. So we need to add a few more, so let's add the next one, the general tab, and the chain is still going to remain as pre-routing, and the interface, the in interface, is now going to be ISP1 as it is here. And then we are also going to change the connection mark, and for this instance the connection mark is going to be no mark, and the action is going to be, the action for this is going to be mark connection, and the new connection mark, we are going to give it a name, let's say ISP1 connection, just in short, con. Then we are going to apply that. Okay, we are going to do the same for the second ISP, general tab, and then the in interface, this is going to be ISP2. The connection mark, this is going to be no mark, and then on the action, on the action tab, this is going to be mark connection, and the new connection mark, we are going to name it as ISP2 con. You are going to apply that and click OK. So we now have two rules, as you can see. Therefore, because you have to do each rule twice for each ISP that you have. So we are going to go to the third rule. We're going to add another filter, another mangle rule. So we come to add, then we come to the general tab, and for this the chain still is going to remain as pre-routing. The in interface here is going to be our bridge, and then the connection mark is still going to remain as no mark. And then we are going to come to extra, and here we are going to pick the destination address type. This is going to, let's see, this is going to be local, and make sure that you check on this right here, invert, and then you come to advanced, and then you come to PCC. PCC is basically per connection classifier, and this is going to be both addresses, and the value here is going to be 2. and this is going to remain as 0. And then after that, we are going now to go to the action. We are now going to go to the action tab, and the action tab, we are going to mark this connection. And after that, the new connection, we are going to say that this goes to ISP1. After that, we apply that. Okay, we are going to do the same thing for ISP2. So the general tab, the chain is still going to remain as pre-routing. Our in interface, this is going to be the bridge. The connection mark, this is still going to remain as no mark. We are going to come to extra. Destination address type, this is also still going to be local. And then invert. And then you click on the advanced tab, and here you come to the per connection classifier. This is going to be both addresses. This value is now going to change to 2, and this one is going to change to 1. After that, we are going to come to the actions tab, and we are going to mark this connection. And the new connection mark, this is now going to be ISP2. We are going to apply that, then click OK. So we are done with that with that rule for the two ISPs. Now we need to add a new rule, a new mangle rule. So we come and add the general tab, and the chain is still going to remain as pre-routing. And now for this case, the connection mark, now this is going to go to ISP1. And then the in interface is going to be our bridge. Let's select the bridge. And then after that, the action. Now for this, we are going to do mark routing. And the new routing mark, we are going to set this to ISP1. We are going to apply and click OK on that. Let's do the same again for ISP2. So the in interface, this is going to be our bridge. The connection mark, this is now going to go to ISP2. The action tab, the action, this is going to be mark routing. And the new routing mark, this is going to ISP2. And then we click OK on that. And then we are now left with one final rule for both of the ISPs. So we click on add the general tab, and now this time the chain is going to be output. And then the connection mark for this is going to be ISP1. And then on the action tab, we are going to mark routing as well. And then the new routing mark, now this one goes to ISP1. Then you apply. Okay, let's input the last one. General tab, the chain is now changing to output. And then after the chain has changed to output, the connection mark, this goes to ISP2. And then we now need to go to the action tab. And then after that, this is also going to be mark routing. And then the new routing mark, this is going to ISP2, then apply. Okay, so basically we are now done with the mangle rules that we need for the load balancing and failover to work. Now what we are left with is now to create some routes for the same. So we need to come to IP and then routes. Let's add our first route here. So the gateway now is going to be we are going to use the gateway for the first ISP for this case. So this is going to be 192.168.0.1. Check gateway, that is going to be set to ping, and then we are going to do routing mark, and the routing mark for this is going to ISP1. Apply and then OK. Let's do the same for the second ISP. The gateway is going to come from the second ISP address. So this is going to be 10.10.10.1. Check gateway to ping, and then the routing mark, this is going to be set to ISP2. Then we are going to apply that as well, and then we are going to click on OK. Let's add another route, the gateway for ISP1, 192.168.0.1. the gateway is going to be set to ping, and the distance here is going to be set to 1, and then we are going to apply that. Click OK. Let's input the last one. The gateway is going to be 10.10.10.1. Check gateway to ping, and for this case the distance is going to be 2, and then we are going to apply that, then click OK. So we are done with the routing table for that. So the next thing that we now need to do is we now need to do NAT for our first ISP and for our second ISP. So we need to come to IP, Firewall, then we need to go to NAT. Let's add the first rule. The out interface, this is definitely going to be ISP1, and the action here is going to be masquerade. Okay, we do the same for ISP2. Out interface, this is going to change to ISP2. The action here is also going to be masquerade. Then we are going to click OK on that. So we are done with the masquerading and NATing of the two ISPs. So the next thing that I want us to do is I want us to create a DHCP server, so that I can be able to connect my current PC to this MikroTik, so that I can be assigned an IP, so that we do some few tests and see if the load balancing and failover is working as it should. So we come to IP, then DHCP server. So DHCP setup, this is going to go to our bridge. Then next. Everything looks okay. Setup is successful. Let's close this. So let's just also try and do a ping and see if we can be able to reach the internet through the two different ISPs. So let's ping 8.8.8 through. Let me minimize this so that we get the IPs. So we are going to ping through the first ISP, that is 192.168.0.100. So guys, as you can see, the ping is going through we can access internet through the first ISP. Let's try and do the same for the second ISP. So let's just delete this. So 10.10.10.249. Yeah, you can also see that we are able to get to the internet through our second ISP. So after doing that, I think now what I want to do is I want to pull the interface so that we can at least see what is happening between those two interfaces as they pull traffic together. So let me just ensure that my PC is connected to this MikroTik, and that I have been assigned an IP. Then we can do the test. So guys, I've now ensured that I'm connected to the MikroTik, and I've been assigned an IP, and you can see that there's traffic flowing through both of the ISPs. So maybe we can just pull up, maybe let's say speed test, and try and do a speed test and see how the interface behaves. So let's just refresh this. Let's see what the result is going to be. As you can see, both the interfaces are running, and we are now going to get a total of what both the interfaces are offering. On ISP1, I currently have roughly around 5 Mbps, and on ISP2 I also currently have around 5 Mbps. So my speed test is showing that I'm getting 8.5. This is just a rough estimate. So we can also now test and see what happens if one ISP fails. So in this case, we are going to disable the first ISP so that we see the failover, so that we can be sure that it works. So let's just disable that, and then let's come back to our speed test and see if we are still connected to the internet. So we are going to refresh that. So you can see it's actually running, and you can see our speed test is also giving us some results from that. So that means that the failover has also been configured well, and it's also working. We can also just enable the first ISP and disable the second ISP and see if the same thing happens. So we've disabled the second. Let's just run a speed test and look at our interface and see what happens. So we are going to refresh this again, and you can see the first ISP is also giving us some results just on its own. So guys, that is how you should be able to configure your MikroTik for load balancing and failover. Thanks for your time. Thanks for making this visit to this channel. Kindly subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and also tell me what you want me to handle next, and what you think of my videos. For those who are also interested, I may also leave a script for this. And when I leave a script for this, the only thing that you may need to change is just the IPs, and this should be able to work for you pretty well. So thanks for your time, guys. Also be sure to share the video with other people as well. So thank you, and bye bye.